Hey guys, Zach here with ZEM Construction, bringing you another basement finishing video. So this basement is about 700 square foot. Started as you see it here, but I just wanted to get on real quick and say thank you so much for all of your patience. I know it's been a really long time since we uploaded. We've kind of restructured the business a little bit and hoping to get some more informative content out there. So I hope you enjoy, and without any further ado, let's get right into the video. Hey guys, Zach here with ZEM Construction, bringing you another video update. We're doing this 700 square foot basement. We're going to finish it out by adding a main living room and master suite. This week we're trying to tackle all the framing. We had all the plumbing and stuff that's finished up, so now we're going to frame everything around that. So far we've already moved this doorway over. It is load bearing, so we had to move the header over. Now it's way more convenient and not in the way of the hot water heater, which is great. We'll have a wall throughout here, and this wall over here. We're going to build soffits around the vent. We're also going to build a soffit around this drain line here. It's actually going to go all the way over so it looks more uniform. We're going to frame out this dividing wall here. There's going to be two pocket doors from the living room leading into the main bedroom. This bedroom is going to have a big closet in here, so we're going to actually frame this out. So this will be finished through here, and then this is going to be a nice big walk-in closet leading from the master bedroom. We're going to frame out all these walls. Luckily there's an egress window that was already done, so we'll frame out around that so the drywallers have something they can attach their drywall to. One more dividing wall here. Of course, all this will be framed in with a pocket door here. Nice big walk-in shower over here. And yeah, so that's our main goal, to get it done this week. So let's get to work. Alright guys, so the first thing that we needed to do in this basement was come through and get all of the walls framed in. As you can see, all of the insulation was already in place from the builder who originally intended for this basement to be finished, so our job was to come through and got all of the walls. Of course, we do a 24 on center stud spacing for all of the walls. The purpose of these walls is quite literally just to hold up the drywall and be able to run electrical and plumbing through them. There's no structural need for them at all. So a 24-inch on center spacing just works out great for our purposes. As you can see, when we construct our walls, as often as we possibly can, we lay the entire structure on the floor, measure everything out that way, build the entire wall, and then stand it up in place as one big piece. The same with any soffit material, or in this case this was just bringing the ceiling down a little bit in the closet, so we had a little bit more space to run the electrical for the light fixture that is going there. Again, we are putting the wall in that was pre-built. When we pre-build the walls, we actually take our measurement in several different places, pick the shortest distance, and then actually subtract another 1/4 of an inch just to give us that little bit of room so that when we're standing the wall up, we can get it into place nice and easy. Of course, every single wall is screwed in to as many places as possible up in the joists, as well as attached to the concrete below. As you can see, we use all treated 2x4s. Anything that is touching the concrete is treated. And a ram set is actually our tool of choice to attach the walls to the concrete. In some cases, like as you can see me here building around the window, it is easier to build the wall in place just because there are several variables with the width of that window, the height, different things like that. And of course, it's not perfectly plumbed as much as you'd hope it would be. Again, building another little section with the treated bottom plate, regular top plate, and 2x4s going up for studs. We use a framing nailer as often as we possibly can. Cordless DeWalt one works really well. So a pretty unique feature in this basement is all of the pocket doors, and that is something you'll hear and see us installing, and you'll hear us talk about it quite often. I think it was really cool. The homeowner really likes their pocket doors, and made the entire process really fun, and I think added a lot to the overall look and functionality of the basement itself. So that's why any of those door frames that you see, those are very wide, so that we can come back later and install that pocket door hardware. So this wall here I would consider probably the most important wall, simply because this was framing the back of the shower wall. So there was ducting and different HVAC work going up over the top that was existing. There is some electrical running around the back, plumbing obviously running through for the shower handle, as well as a shampoo niche that we're framing in right now and adding some plywood for some backing for that niche. So we had to make sure that this wall was perfectly square, plumb. I mean, there is going to be tile going on this at some point. So the straighter and more square plumb that wall is going to make our lives a lot easier down the road. So under this beam, of course we had to do everything we could to hide this beam, but underneath it there is actually 3 pocket doors. There's not much space for anything else. As you can see, I'm putting in a little 1-foot section of wall there so that I can put up the pocket door sliding hardware. As we mentioned before, there's going to be a double pocket door going through, separating the living space from the master bedroom. I'm putting in one of those right now. Again, building another really small section for underneath that beam. We used the ram set with a hotter or more explosive powder to make sure that the nails would embed themselves in that steel. Also, because that beam, we were slightly limited on the height of the doors that we could have. Not by much, it was only a couple inches or so. So we had to cut down all of the framing. So all of these pocket doors actually use a steel stud framing, which was great. Really easy to work with, very strong when attaching drywall and all those things. That really adds a lot of rigidity. These pocket door frames were definitely on the higher end, I would say, compared to some of your big box stores type pocket doors. And the reason for this is the 2 doors separating the living room from the master bedroom are actually going to have glass panels in them, like I mentioned before. So we did not want to spare any expense to make sure that these really expensive doors were going to be taken care of and last in the long run. So getting the last of the steel stud in for the pocket doors, of course, making sure everything is plumb and straight and level so that those doors can slide in and out of there with no issues. It's a little bit tricky right here because we actually build part of the shower around the framing of that pocket door. So we get a little bit creative on how we go about doing that, but of course everything passed inspection and turned out really nice. So one of the things that the homeowner wanted to do is add soundproof insulation. This is a question that comes up often in my videos, is why we didn't add soundproof insulation in previous projects that we do in basements. And the main answer, when I try to reply as many of the comments as I can, is budget. The reason that we do not put this type of insulation in every single project is because the homeowner doesn't want to pay for it. Of course, there are tons of reasons to install it, for soundproofing, heat separation, of course, all of those things. But sometimes the homeowner just doesn't want to pay for it. Of course, we're not going to do things that we are not paid for. So because this space is going to be a second ensuite for them, they did want to include the soundproof insulation, add a little bit more of privacy, also just overall comfort in the space as well. And as you saw earlier, Cody was cutting the pieces, the bats of insulation lengthwise, and that is because new construction nowadays is standard to have your joist spacing at 19 inches. And for whatever reason, at this point in time, 19-inch insulation widths is not readily available. It is something you can special order. My supplier informed me that if it is something I wanted to purchase, I would have to purchase an entire truckload at one time. So because I don't have a place to put that or any desire to have that be such a huge part of my business, we get the 24-inch and we cut them down. But as you can see too, we use the cutoffs as often as we possibly can. So as Cody was doing some insulation, I was getting ready for this big shower. The technique I am using here is a 3-piece drain with a pre-slope, a PVC pan liner, and then another layer on top of that, and then eventually we do use a Red Guard waterproofing system. I am fully aware that that is not the most modern technique. It is how I was trained. It is a tried and true method that's been around a long time. So it is the technique that I, at this point in time, was still using. Currently, now in the present day, I have adopted a new system for waterproofing showers. I actually have used Schluter before, which in some cases works out really well. But my favorite at this point is the Weedy shower system, or Tile Pro, which is basically the same thing. Those systems work really well for us. I really enjoy those products. I like working with them. So I know I'm going to get tons of comments about how old school that this method is. And I'm fully aware of that. And like I said, since this video was filmed, we have completely changed up how we go about doing it. That being said, I will explain a little bit of what this process looks like. So of course, I got all of my blocking framed out for where the shower is going to be laid out. I mix up some thin set, and the thin set actually adheres the dry pack mud to the concrete surface a little bit better. The dry pack would probably be okay, but just a little bit more security by screening out some of that thin set and then doing the dry pack over the top. So as you can see, I was hand mixing all of my dry pack cement, which is just a sand mixture you can get at a big box store. And there's tons of YouTube videos on how to properly lay out a shower pan. The method that I use is to completely make a level surface all the way around the perimeter, get that nice and packed, and then you can actually use that perimeter packing as a reference to make sure that your slope goes back towards the drain at a perfect slope. Industry standard is a 1/4 inch per foot. So I determine what that is I get the furthest point, so one of the corners to the middle of the drain, figure out what that distance is, and I think in this case was a little bit less than 4 feet. So I just rounded up. A 1/4 inch per foot means that from the outside edge to the center of the drain, there's about 1 inch of slope. And when putting in the sand mixture, how I like to do it is kind of overfill a little bit, use a level or a straight edge, and pack that down so you can see exactly where you need to reference, and then smooth out that area in between. So I kind of work in triangles more or less. You can see me doing that here using a wood float. I really enjoy using a wood float for this process. I feel it doesn't dig in as far, so as you're screeding and scraping and moving that stuff around, it's not as an aggressive tool. The sand mixture is quite literally like sand, like almost like playing in a sandbox if mixed properly. So making sure that is all smooth, flat. We're going to be putting a 1.5 inch hexagon tile over the top of this, which looks really nice, but there is really no room for error when it comes to making sure that this pan is floated out properly.
Alright guys, we have just wrapped up most of our punch list items. We got a couple more things that we're going to get done, but the next step is bringing in the drywall subcontractor to get that going. So before that happens, I want to give you a quick rundown of what all we've done in here. So we got all the exterior walls have all been framed out, insulation's all done. We're starting to do vapor barrier right now. We have an electrical inspection tomorrow, so we're going to make sure all that stuff is exposed. We just had plumbing and building inspections earlier this morning. Everything went great. Of course, everything passed. So all of the soffits are all framed out. All of the exterior walls are all done. Here is going to be the double set of pocket doors right here. Those are all done. We have steel stud construction on those, and then we have soft close and open hardware, which is going to be awesome because these doors do have glass panels in them. In here, this is all framed out. You can see all the lights hanging down low again so that they can be inspected. This closet over here turned out really cool. There's a ton of space in here. We've got lights in here now. Again, more pocket door hardware. We built this all out so now you can come underneath here for a ton of closet space. And behind you guys over here is the bathroom. Again, another pocket door. Yes, there are 4 pocket doors in this space into the master bathroom with the large walk-in shower here. Going to be putting in the second layer of the shower pan here in a minute. This is all done. We have electrical outlets behind the vanity, vanity lighting, toilets over here. Now everything is ready to go. So we're getting real excited about moving forward in this this process. So if you guys like these kinds of videos, please make sure you subscribe. We have multiple more videos coming out, going to be following along in this process. So hit that bell too, so when we do upload, you get notified for the next step. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and we'll see you guys next time.